Yo, what is up, guys? It is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, back again today with another fantasy football video. Today's video is week 2 running back sit, start, sit decisions. Should you start a guy? Should you sit a guy at the running back position? Quarterbacks, tight ends, wide receivers. All those videos will also be coming pretty soon, so stay tuned for that. This will be the first video of the day. Maybe wide receivers or quarterback or whichever one I decide to make will be probably later. Follow me on Twitter at Notorious Fantasy. But before I start the video, I'd like to ask you guys, could please subscribe, because not only is it going to help me, it's going to help you, because I'm going to help you guys dominate your whole fantasy football season from all these videos that I'm uploading daily. You guys will not want to miss out. So let's get right into the video with the Thursday night football game. Buccaneers at the Panthers. You're going to be starting Christian McCaffrey. I know that was fucking obvious. I don't even have to really explain why you'd want to start Christian McCaffrey. He was the number one running back in fantasy last week. He was amazing. 100 total, or I think it was, I believe he was near 200 total yards, a touchdown. He played amazing. He was great. You don't have to worry about Christian McCaffrey. He's in your lineup every single week. You're going to sit Barber and Jones. Barber played pretty fucking trash last week. Jones had a pretty good game. Ronald Jones, that is, but I would not really depend upon him, so I would just bench those two and just sit and start Christian McCaffrey. The next game, Cardinals versus the Ravens to start the 1 p.m. slate on Sunday. Start David Johnson. Pretty obvious from the Cardinals. David Johnson had a pretty great week last week. A lot better than what a lot of people assumed, and a lot better than how he was playing in the first 3 quarters. Obviously, in the fourth quarter, the Cardinals really seemed to emerge and have a much better offense and play a lot better. So I would start David Johnson. Pretty obvious. You draft him in the first round, you're going to fire him up. Mark Ingram as well on the Ravens. You drafted him pretty highly, you're going to start him. Now, I don't love Mark Ingram season long because I think eventually Justice Hill will emerge past him. But I think that the Cardinals defense is pretty solid. But at the same time, Mark Ingram will definitely have a good enough of a day, good enough of an outing to be worth starting. Probably going to finish as an RB2 on the week. You're going to sit Justice Hill, Sexy Rexy, not Sexy Rexy, the Gus Bus, all those guys. I don't even know if one of them I'm pretty sure got cut. So you're just going to sit all the other Baltimore backs and obviously not playing Chase Edmonds. So the next game is the Chargers versus the Lions. You're going to be starting Eckler and Justin Jackson from the Chargers. Eckler was the second best running back on the week, I believe. Unless Josh Jacobs was able to pass him. He played pretty fucking phenomenal at the beginning. Or Eckler played pretty phenomenal the whole fucking game. He scored a touchdown, at least one touchdown, had a shit ton of rushing yards, a shit ton of receiving yards, played pretty good. Like I said, I told you guys he's the receiving back on the team. He's very safe play in PPR. Should have a pretty good week against the Lions. Justin Jackson, more of a flex option kind of guy. He's not like an RB2, but he will be pretty solid this week, I think. Kerryon Johnson, now, last week he faced 75 or 80% 8-man boxes running against. Hopefully, that's not the same this week. He should do better against the Chargers defense, and I like him this week. Probably a solid flex option or RB2. And we're going to be sitting CJ Anderson because the only thing CJ Anderson does is just hurt Kerryon. He really has no fantasy value unless Kerryon was to go down. Like I said, he just sucks some of the yards out of Kerryon. Next game, we got the Colts versus the Titans. You're going to be starting Marlon Mack and Derrick Henry. Pretty obvious here. Marlon Mack, one of the better backs last week as well. Ran a shit ton, caught a pass, and played pretty well. I think that Marlon Mack is probably going to be a lot better than I perceived personally during draft season, because I thought that Andrew Luck personally would have a huge effect on Marlon Mack because they wouldn't be scoring as much. Clearly, Jacoby is able to sling the ball to T.Y. Hilton, had 2 touchdowns. So I think that Jacoby can move the ball enough that Marlon Mack will have a solid game. And then you're going to be starting Derrick Henry. Now, I know I told you guys last week to sit Derrick Henry, and boy, was I fucking wrong. I'm going to be honest with you. I'll admit when I'm wrong. I'll tell you when I'm wrong because I'm just an honest guy. Honest Abe over here. Honest Abe Lincoln. So, start Derrick Henry. I don't love him, but you're going to have to start him because he plays so fucking great. It seems like they will actually keep feeding him the ball all year. If the wheels fall off of him, maybe they will, who knows? But as of right now, I would fire up Derrick Henry and feel not too confident about it, but I would do it. Oh shit, I slapped my mic. I'm sorry, guys. I just fucking bitch slapped you guys. Sit Naheem Hines and Dion Lewis. I told you guys to sit Dion Lewis last week too. Sit Naheem Hines. They don't really do much. So all they're doing is sucking away Henry and Max usage. Next game, we got the 49ers versus the Bengals. This is a start of fire on all cylinders if things happen to be the way that I think they'll go. So you're going to be starting Burrito and Mostert from the 49ers. Now, I'd be more confident in Burrito over Mostert. I think that a lot of people think Mostert is going to be getting a lot more value than he really does have. I think it'll really be the Matt Burrito show, but Mostert will definitely have some solid value. It's worth like a flex option, or in a deeper league a flex option. I wouldn't love starting him this week in a um deeper league. And then this is the situation for the Bengals. Now, as I'm recording this video, it is the 10th and it is 7:45 p.m. As of right now, it seems like Mixon is healthy. So I would play Mixon if healthy with caution. Now, you can't expect him to be an RB1 this week. He's not healthy. He hurt his something on his fucking body. Can't even remember. But if so you're gonna start Mixon. But if Mixon is out, then you're gonna pick up Gio Bernard and fire Gio Bernard on all cylinders. He will be the workhorse on the team for the week, and I would love starting Gio Bernard if Mixon was completely out. If Mixon's in, then Gio Bernard's just gonna hurt Mixon's value, but you can't start Gio Bernard. The next game, we got the Jaguars at the Houston Texans. Texans had one of the better games of the week if you watch. It was Monday Night Football, Saints versus Texans. The Saints came up with the win, but the Texans played amazing, and Deshaun Watson looked amazing. You're going to be starting in this game. Jaguars running back Leonard Fournette, pretty obvious. You drafted him highly. He played pretty fucking well, and I think that even without Nick Foles, he still definitely has some value. He was running the ball a lot, still pretty solid back until he decides to like fight the other team or something like Miles Jack did in the on the defensive side of the ball. And you're going to be starting Duke Johnson from the Texans because I think that Duke Johnson has a lot of value on this Texans team. He was getting a bunch of, if you watched my breakdown I made yesterday, he got a bunch of passing opportunity, got some running down work. It looked like a complete 50-50 split. I believe 10 touches to Carlos Hyde and 9 to Duke Johnson. If not, it was the reverse. So I think Duke Johnson should be able to get like 50 rushing yards, probably 50 receiving yards, get you in a PPR format probably 10, 11, 12, 15 points, and you'll be pretty happy about it. And Carlos Hyde is a guy that I'm going to sit. I don't feel confident starting him ever, unless it's a super deep league, then maybe I would think about starting him. But even in that situation, like, what's he going to get? 80 rushing yards on like 10 or 11 attempts against the Jags? Do you really want that? Not really to me. The next game, we got the Vikings, the Minnesota Vikings at the Packers. You're going to be starting Dalvin Cook. Obviously, Dalvin Cook had a phenomenal week 1. Went balls to the wall out on the fucking Atlanta Falcons. Just destroyed them. Fucking Kirk only threw the ball 10 times, went 9 for 10 for a touchdown to Thielen. It was like clockwork for Dalvin Cook. As long as he's healthy, throw him in your lineup. You're going to be sitting Madison, the backup for Cook. Madison played pretty well. Obviously, if you are the Cook owner, please, I'm begging you to pick up Alexander Madison if he's available or trade for him, because if Dalvin Cook goes down, you're going to be shit out of luck if you don't have Alexander Madison. And you're going to be sitting Aaron Jones. It's going to be hard to sit Aaron Jones because you drafted him so highly. But last week, he took a fucking straight up shit all over your team. So you're obviously probably pretty mad at him. So I would just bench him if you have other options. Leave down in the comments your other options if you have Aaron Jones, and I'll answer if I would start Jones or that guy. And then you're going to bench Jamal Williams as well from the Packers. Next game we're going to be talking about here is the Cowboys versus the Washington Redskins. You're going to be starting Ezekiel Elliott. I know, that was the most obvious thing ever. In the Giants game, I'll tell you to start Saquon. Some of these are obviously very clear, as you would know, because it's a start-sit for every single fucking game. You're also going to be starting Chris Thompson, Redskins running back. I believe that Chris Thompson will be above AP and will get, because they're going to be down, okay? Pretty obvious, they're going to be down to the Cowboys, so they're going to have to throw the ball, and AP is not much of a pass-catching back. Chris Thompson's the pass-catching back. He'll get a lot of pass-catching work, potentially catch the ball 8 times. That's 8 free points at PPR. Probably finish pretty solid this week, a solid flex option or RB2 if you are in a deep need for an RB2. You're going to be sitting Mr. Tony Pollard, Cowboys running back. When Zeke's in, can't start Pollard. Pretty clear. And then you're going to sit AP. Now, AP is a potential start in a super deep league. If they somehow start winning this game, AP may be amazing. But in my opinion, I think that the game script will go the way of Chris Thompson, so I don't love AP this week. Next game, we have the Seattle Seahawks versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. You're going to be starting Chris Carson and James Conner. Now, I know some people, I'll caution you, oh my God, Chris Carson And James Conner, oh my god, James Conner played so bad against the Patriots. Oh my god. It's because they were fucking getting destroyed by the Patriots, okay? They're going to run the ball a lot more this game. I love Conner in this game, even against Seattle's defense. Fucking Andy Dalton was able to torch him, and Chris Carson was also in that game, destroying what? Oh my god, I'm fucking on something. Chris Carson was not destroying his own defense, but I think that Chris Carson and James Conner will both have a pretty solid game. Some people are worried about them. I'm perfectly fine starting them. You should not bench those guys at all. You drafted them early. You know they will be good, and I'm sure they will be good. You're going to be sitting Penny and Samuel, both the cuffs for the Seahawks and the Steelers. Rashad Penny, I thought would have a lot more value than he does. Seems like he's really not getting any work, like 30%. I believe it was 71% of Chris Carson's touches, so I would not even touch Rashad Penny. Or Jalen Samuel is going to get some work, but it's really just the James Conner show. I told you guys it was not a running back by committee. Next game, we got the Buffalo Bills versus the New York Football Giants. You're going to be firing up, starting Devin Singletary. Now, Devin Singletary is a guy that I believe he only got like 5 or 6 touches or something, and got like some crazy number of yards. He got a shit ton of yards. I know that. And I think this week he'll be getting more usage because they were down big in that Jets game. They were down like 16-0 at one point, so they weren't really running. This game against the Giants, they'll have more of a game script to run, so Devin Singletary should play pretty well. Definitely a good flex option. Saquon Barkley, obvious start. You draft him in the first round, likely your first, second, or third pick. The first, second, or third pick in your draft. You love them. You're playing them. Regardless of how good the other defense is, regardless of how good the other team is, Saquon will probably still rush for 100 yards and a touchdown. He's just that fucking good. You're going to be sitting down on the Bills. TJ Yeldon, Frank Gore, all they're doing is hurting Singletary. You're not really getting any value from Yeldon or the old man, Frank Gore. Now we have the absolute domination game of the week, Patriots versus the Dolphins. Now, I know the stats that the Dolphins, I believe, have won 5 of 6 games against the Patriots at Miami, but this just does not seem like that game that we win. The other 5 games that we win, it's going to be like 5-7 in the last 7 years because the Patriots are going to fucking destroy the Dolphins. I'm a Dolphins fan. I don't like to see it. Sony Michel, James White, fire them both up. I think James White will have pretty good value, obviously, in the pass catching work, and then Sony Michel should score more than like 3 points that he scored Sunday night because they really didn't even need to run them. They weren't running the ball with Sony Michel. They were just using everyone. Sexy Rexy was running all over the place. And that is obviously a worry that when you start Sony Michel, it could just be the Sexy Rexy show, the Damian Williams show, the James White show. Sexy Rexy is Rex Burkhead. Could end up just fucking stealing everything from Sony Michel. So I think James White is the safest start in this. You're going to be sitting Kalen Ballage and Kenyon Drake. You don't want anything to do with these Dolphins backs. I don't even know why I drafted them. I thought it would be some solid value, but the Dolphins look like putrid, pure shit. If the Dolphins somehow fucking win this game, I would be amazed. But I mean, like I said, guys, they've won the last 5 of 6 in Miami, the Dolphins, so who knows? They may actually end up winning. The Chiefs versus the Raiders is the next game, I think. Shit. Alright, I thought that was like the night game. Maybe it's not. Chiefs versus the Raiders are going to be firing up Mr. Damian Williams, D-Will. He played pretty good against the Jaguars last week. Pretty confident starting him. Shady McCoy on the Chiefs. I'd be pretty iffy on starting. I mean, like, you can start him as your flex, but he probably needs a touchdown to provide a lot of value for you. He may get like 60, 70, 80 rush yards. You need that touchdown. And then Josh Jacobs rushed for 2 touchdowns, 100 yards. First to do it since LT in his debut. Josh Jacobs clearly is a good back. If Matt Nagy wasn't such a fucking idiot, he would use Dave Montgomery that way. Fire up Josh Jacobs. Next game, Saints versus the Rams. Should be a pretty good game. Rematch of the NFC Championship game in which the Rams fucking lucked out and the Saints should have really won that game. Starting here, obviously, Alvin Kamara, amazing. Played great last week. You should have no worry in playing Alvin Kamara ever. You could start Latavius Murray in like a flex option. He's going to be a flex option every single week, and especially in a high-scoring game against the Rams, I like it. And then you're going to obviously fire up Gurley. You drafted him early. You got to play him. This is a matchup that he could likely flourish in, so I'd be confident going Gurley here. Duke Johnson and Carlos Hyde played pretty well against the Saints this Monday, so I'm pretty confident that the Saints' run defense is not all that good, and Todd Gurley could definitely beat them. Sit Darrell Henderson and Malcolm Brown. Now, I know Oh, Nick, you fucking told me to pick up Malcolm Brown. Why can I not play him? Well, because you're gonna. The only reason why you have Malcolm Brown is just to hold him on your bench, and if Todd Gurley gets hurt, then you have Malcolm Brown probably an RB1, or Darrell Henderson may end up being the RB1. Who really knows? But I think that both these guys, you just bench up. Malcolm Brown may end up scoring 2 touchdowns again, but you can't really predict that. The next game is the Bears versus the Broncos. This may be the night game. Let's see what. Oh nope, never mind. I fucking lied to you guys. Clearly not the night game. The Bears versus the Broncos. You're gonna be fired up, Mr. Tariq Cohen. Tariq Cohen was playing out of the slot. He was a fucking wide receiver on Thursday night against Green Bay. Play Tariq Cohen. He's just gonna be great. I doubted him. I doubted the talent. I doubted how much they would use him. I thought that it was really just going to be the David Montgomery show. Turned out it was actually the opposite. It was the Tariq Cohen show. And I would still start David Montgomery as a flex, but you're starting him with caution because you know Matt Nagy could just say, fuck you, whatever your name, owner's name, insert your name there. Fuck you. I'm going to start Mr. Tariq Cohen a million times, run it with him the ball a million times, and throw the ball to him a million times. Not my best back, David Montgomery. But if David Montgomery happens to actually be used correctly, he will be amazing this game. So I'm fully confident in that. I'm confident that if they use him correctly, he will be amazing. But I'm not confident that Nagy knows to use him correctly. Even though he said that he watched the game back and was like, man, I should have ran the ball more. No fucking shit, Matt Nagy, okay? And you're going to be sitting down, big Philip Lindsay, Rolls Royce of the Broncos, just sit them both down. This is against the fucking Bears defense. The Bears defense made Aaron Jones look like a baby back bitch. Do not caution Philip Lindsay and Royce Freeman. I wouldn't even start him. Mike Davis, the other Bears running back, just sit him down. Clearly not getting enough work to have any value. The next game, this, I believe, is. Let's go back. This, I think, is Sunday Night Football. Eagles versus the Falcons. The rematch from last year. The first game on Thursday Night Football. Sorry about that, guys. I had to cough. The first game from last year where, like, oh shit, slap the mic. Everyone died. Like, I believe all of the Eagles and Falcons defense just fucking passed out. And yeah, so you're going to be starting Devonta Freeman with caution, guys, with caution, because Devonta Freeman played like fucking dog doo-doo against the fucking Vikings. Really did nothing. I'd be cautious with that, but you draft them highly, so you're probably firing him up. You're going to sit down big Jordan Howard and Miles Sanders. It's like it's too much of a split there. You sit them down, you wait for either Jordan Howard to completely emerge or Miles Sanders to emerge before you can start either of them. I believe this is the Sunday night game, and here's the Monday night game. The Browns versus the Jumbo Jets, baby. This is the clearest slate right here. You're starting Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb last week got vultured by Hilliard. Hilliard got a concussion. And I think that's just karma because he fucking vultured my man Nick Chubb. You can't be doing that, in my opinion. Don't vulture Nick Chubb, okay? You might get hurt, okay? And then you're going to fire up Le'Veon Bell, running back Jets. Obviously, you drafted him in the first round. You're firing him up. You sit down. Le'Veon's back up. Ty Montgomery. I don't think you were even thinking about starting him, but you sit him down. Knock one time if you're with me. I think Nick Chubb this week has potential to be a top 5 back. Let's knock twice. Knock one time if you're goddamn with me. Let's go. Nick Chubb. Thank you guys all for fucking watching. I hope any of this was useful. I hope that I didn't just destroy a player you have. I will give you leave a comment. I will answer every single comment. I'm always down in the comments, creeping, looking for some goddamn questions to answer. Follow me on Twitter at NotoriousFNTSY. I tweet out funny jokes for for example, today I was at school and someone walked up to me. I was wearing my Dolphins hoodie because I always rock that shit. I rock the team no matter how hard we get pounded into submission by the Ravens. I wore the hoodie and he said that he was a Dolphins fan and that we were going to kill the Patriots. And I don't know what that man was on, but I hope that it is true. Have a great goddamn day. I love each and every one of you. Goodbye.